whole experience was very exciting for me because it was not just African students. We actually came together with Michigan State Spirit Squad, and it was great for me to sort of get to know domestic students around the campus came together to dance to African music. So that was very exciting.
I was excited for it, and I was also nervous because I feel like it's a pretty big responsibility. Taking on the music of any continent is a little overwhelming because you're certainly not going to capture the music of a country, let alone a continent. But the students, yeah, really enjoyed it, and but the drumline in general got great exposure, got a chance to learn about a different culture, learn about the music. All of those things were fantastic for them to get exposure to, and a chance to work with them directly was a great opportunity.
And getting to see that, that Africa was celebrated at such a grand audience, right? It was just so phenomenal, right? It felt so good seeing that,
The MSU College of Music, the Spartan Marching Band, the African Student Union. All of these students came together to dance, to sing, to play music all about Africa.
I awake at the shout of first rooster, sacred familiar sound, upon the cloud where I slumber at the foot of the mountain, or the countryside, still shrouded in the gown of darkness when, over the horizon, Nyamatsatse, the glorious rising, peaks over the east like the ancestors smiling. Amidst the dawn's mist, the red clay sun kissed, and the earth and heavens embrace like lovers long missed.
Historically, MSU has had a great relationship with other continent of Africa. First of all, for example, helping establish the first university in Nigeria, the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, right? And, they took it upon themselves to sort of commemorate a year of Global Africa to celebrate that friendship, right?
So there was a decision made, I think, by the Cultural Engagement Council to declare the idea of having a year of Global Africa. The Cultural Engagement Council asked Dean Steve Esquith from the Residential College of Arts and Humanities to be the dean on the committee. I was on the committee as the director of the African Studies Center. And then we brought in a couple of other members of our committee from different parts of the university.
So my name is Leo Zulu. I am an associate professor in the Department of Geography. And I'm an Africanist, so which means that I do all my research in pretty much all of it in Africa. I was asked to be part of the leadership team that coordinates the activities, and you meet, you decide what we're gonna do, some of the budgeting, just engaging the broader student body, student community, including Africans, and even faculty, reaching out to departments like engineering and the STEM, and talking to other faculty about what we are doing in Africa and the opportunities that are there for faculty to do research in Africa. That has been fulfilling as well. There's been lots of fun, lots of activities, learning from all the major events that have happened, and things happening, displays in the museums, and you have talks and people coming in. You have also shows that are happening down here at the theater, the MSU theater. So it's just been amazing.
A lot of people are doing the same things that we've already been doing. We've always had an African Gala. We've always had the Taste of Africa. But what we did with Year of Global Africa is we were able to just amplify and support all of these great activities and just push everything up to another level and bring in funding and bring in new people.
As grand shivering river roars to wake the rest of creation, her voice echoes far and wide, rousing neighboring nations. Chaotic concrete quite contrasts to the calm commune. As the big city's rhythm beats reminiscent of yesteryear's djembe, pulsing, pushing forth life into the heart of the land, the men and the women, up and down, alive, pumping, like blood incessant, beating, 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 griots of the modern day.
Last year, we all gathered for a cooking experience in one of the dining halls. Well, this year we had a whole week where all of the dining halls were preparing different African dishes.
I think at first it was, could you do a recipe or two? And then the more I started talking to her about it, I'm like, well, why don't we just feature something every day across campus? There's so much passion behind it that I'm like, oh, we have to be a part of this. This is gonna be great. And I was excited for it. I was excited in the recipe tasting. It was about just showcasing some great food and giving students an opportunity to try some authentic dishes that represent it, right? And then to hear the feedback, the positive feedback from everyone, the way we had set it up. And those are now recipes that we have that we can run on a regular basis. It's a huge win across campus.
The things that was very exciting for me is the small grants. For me, that's the biggest part that I like, the small grants that we gave out to students and to faculty. And that really brought out a lot of energy and creativity among students, including lots of African students who could come on board and participate and do exciting and interesting projects on Africa with faculty and colleagues on the African continent.
I hinted working here when the African Studies Center was giving out the mini grants, sort of making sure that word got out there, reaching out to different people to apply for the mini grants. The past 2 years, I've been the president of Sankofa Graduate Student Union, which is the student representative body for my college. So through that, we also applied for a mini grant, and we put on a program called Bridging the Gap, in which we're talking about relationships between Africans and African Americans.
One of our recipients from a mini grant were a team of people who are working in big data, people who work in mathematics and statistics. And before the Year of Global Africa, some people might have said, well, how can you have an Africa-centered or an Africa-focused approach to mathematics and statistics? And this team, wonderful people, so Dennis and Leonard and Fred Revines. So that's a simple bridge, just helping us move into connection with a department and with a discipline that we didn't previously have a partnership with. But then that team has built a whole new relationship for us at the University of Cape Town, where they have some really advanced mathematical and statistical programs. What I learned was that when we invite our community members to join with us and innovate with us, let us know what their ideas are, their creative ideas. We do have funding for programs.
Conducting an age-old orchestra of car horns that sound like vuvuzelas, that sound like majestic elephants in full glee, bathing in the waters of the Limpopo, mighty lords of wherever their baobab trunk feet may stomp, glee like the boys playing shirtless in mid-morning Mombasa, covered in the cloud of dust and dreams of tomorrow.
When we had some idea that we were interested in learning about physics education in developing contexts, we just didn't know where to go to work on that kind of project. It wasn't something that happened in the education studies department. It didn't happen even in our physics education department. So to explore something that was really radically different, we needed a source of funding that was outside of what we would typically look at. And from there, it essentially went from, okay, we're a group of students that is interested in this topic, to now we're working with universities in Africa and NGOs in Africa, and there's all different kinds of people that are interested in this topic as well. And this was a good way to learn about the connections that Michigan State has in Africa, and that's inevitably what led us to Ghana. When we spent the first half of the trip with the University of Cape Coast, we mostly were interacting with faculty at the university, high school teachers, and different people that are in the administrative system for education, learning about what it was like to teach physics. And when we went to work with Adanu, we were mostly interacting with the high school teachers and the students. And from their perspective, we were asking about what it's like to learn physics. It was really interesting because they share a lot of the same needs that we do here in the United States, but they just come in different ways.
Nourished under midday sun by the commanding fragrance of a goosey soup, oxtail stew, jera cooked, accompanied nemarula juice, a priestly feast prescribed to extinguish the distance between me and you.
It's been an enabling environment for me to sort of get to practice my leadership skills and engage with the African community on campus through the African Students Leadership Association. So it's been a great experience here. As ASLA, we took the opportunity to apply for the mini grant, particularly with getting help towards running our comeback conference. So every year we get to go to Washington, D.C. at Howard University for a Model African Union conference. We come back and we host a comeback conference on campus, and we pretty much replicate what we did in Washington, D.C. With the MSU community. It's an opportunity for us to share what we learned, our experiences, and our takeaways, In the AU African Union Ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency Dr. Arekanach Kombore-Kwa brought so much visibility to us as an organization. So the mini grant really helped us, host that event and make it a success.
Dr. Chiombori, she was phenomenal. The way she spoke about the history of Africa and our relations to the US just gave me a deeper understanding. And also, I got to learn about the MSU's impact on the continent. With Global Africa as well, I'm now hosting the African Business Symposium, which is exploring business in Africa and trying to understand emerging markets from technology to venture capital. I worked really hard over the summer to invite 3 CEOs of companies that work within African markets. And so it's been such a great experience to just engage with people in the ecosystem and actually bring them together to speak about how do you engage with African markets and emerging markets, and how do we as students start thinking critically about the role that we play. Business gets people out of poverty, it opens opportunity, and so if we can stabilize ecosystems and help entrepreneurs thrive, my job is done.
Wise old chieftain, draped in technicolor kente cloth, bellows in the heart of the village, beckoning the children to the school of life under ancient Mopane tree, where her very breath is wisdom, feeding their infantile imagination with visions of the Ma'at scale, Sankofa bird, and Ubuntu embrace, the advent of the oppressors, the glorious liberators, the modern day regressors, the battle for worse and better, eternally raging in this blessed place.
Over the last 2 years of working on the Year of Global Africa, what really fundamentally about me has changed is that it's given me a lot of pride. As an African, I learned so much more. I got to try some Ethiopian food. I got to learn about some of the history from Djibouti. And so it's just, for me, deepened my understanding of the continent itself. It's also shown me the community that MSU has to offer within people who study Africa or people who are from the continent, and it's given me a home where I'm like, hey, remember we bumped into that event, to each other at that event, and we got to be friends. And so it's just allowed me to be more African.
Getting to engage with African people and African institutions, these were the things that made the Year of Global Africa for me something really profound, because I got to go somewhere and have my expectations completely shattered.
I think Africa has always inspired me as far as a lot of my writing is about, is about Africa and how I am African. The Year of Global Africa, while I would not say itself would be the inspiration, I feel like it captured the essence of the things that inspire me pretty well. But in many ways, it was the poetry, right? It came from the same place that the poetry comes from, so that was pretty pleasing to see.
I think being at MSU has really been a great experience, getting to sort of get the best education and be around people from different backgrounds and societies, in a sense, sort of advocate for certain things that pertain to Africa's growth and development, as well as get to experience, sort of have leaders from different backgrounds pertaining to Africa, through the auspices of the Year of Global Africa was really empowering and added a particular unique experience that every MSU student should have, and so that was just so empowering.
And when the Year of Global Africa launched, it was in the first semester when I got here, so it was a really exciting experience for me to know that wow, there's this whole celebration about my continent. It was like a really great welcoming party, for me. So yeah, all of that really contributed to me feeling at ease and feeling like Michigan State actually knows where I'm from. There's partnership, there's a lot going on between my school and the African continent.
Uncertain red and purple hues cruise smoothly over resting hill edges, where yester ghosts serve as muses to the music atop our hedges, inviting estranged brothers east and west to the heavens ordained feasts, to dance and celebrate the festival of the harvest and the banishing of the beast that has long stood to preserve our enmity, poverty, and misery. For in song, in dance, in story, in food we stand shackle-free.
The lasting impact of Global Africa, I hope, is that people start to critically assess the views that they have and also get excited about either visiting, engaging with Africans, working with African literature, or playing around and getting to know more than what Michigan or the US has to offer. And so really the lasting impact is just to change that narrative and to show people that it's 54 countries. It's got so much to offer. It's a fun space and you should definitely check it out.
We are trying to create and found a collaboration between the University of Cape Coast, Adanu, and Michigan State. Ultimately, the project here is to get people who are in different international contexts talking about what it's like to teach and learn physics. And while I may be graduating, we're recruiting people right now to carry this project onwards.
We've got some really powerful insights. We've also shown what Africa has to offer globally in terms of our pictures, the culture, the different inventions that we have. And so I think when I saw that, I was like, I'm so proud to be African right now, and this is amazing. It was just such a dynamic view of the continent.
African people are people that we can communicate with. African people are people that we can learn together with. And so I want the community, the MSU community, to know that it's okay to reach out. It's okay to talk to someone who's different from you, because you will learn.
And I hope that the Year of Global Africa's lasting impact gets to be that, they realize the importance of Africa as a stakeholder going forward as a developmental partner for the rest of the world, and they get to harness that potential and see value that it has, as well as get to experience the African people, right, and vice versa.
Let it not stop. Let this not be a sort of a fire in the pan type moment. I think that should be the baseline. It should just get better from now on. We should get more intimately engaged with the continent. Yeah, and Africa will save the world. That's what I say. As we lay, gaze fixated on the heavens over the banks of the Grand River, they smile back, silent, a symphony of spectacular silver slivers. Oh, what sweet serenade, the celestial show that illuminates the land. And once more, we are one with the ancients who understood the beaming, the sanctity of light, bouncing atop the pyramids across the Nubian sands, to the doggone forefathers who long before imagined and mastered its meaning. That light is nothing but darkness disrupted, and you and I are vessels that the universe has trusted. And if you listen intently, you'll hear as the African wind whispers, insists, there are no others here, no them, just us. We are. We exist.
you.